Welcome to Trust the Journey. I'm Melanie Curtis.
And I'm Jason Moletsky.
Thank you, legit, for joining us today.
Yeah, our mission is living and learning, laughing and loving together with you.
We're here to grow and contribute through our practice of openness, honesty, vulnerability, humility, and trust, trusting the entire journey.
Yeah, and on that journey, we often talk about plant medicines, psychedelics, and other avenues of healing. When we do, we are sharing for informational purposes only. We're not doctors or therapists, and we don't promote doing anything illegal.
Inside us all, we have a deep, powerful knowing. We encourage curiosity, healing, and exploration of this consciousness.
Damn straight. Together, our handle is trustthejourney.today. Individually, you can find her at melaniecurtis.com and me at jasonmoletsky.com.
Thank you all again so much for being with us. On to the show.
Today, we welcome Isra Garcia. For Isra, the action is the outcome itself. This is why he does what he does.
Isra Garcia works on his daily self-mastery and peak performance journey, sharing his experiences and practices in conducting human potential experiments. This path, he believes, is a unique way to approach discipline that sets you free, allowing you to become intimately close to your inner master. It's about living an ultra-productive life, hacking your body, mind, spirit, and heart space to access your holistic peak performance.
Isra delves into building an unstoppable attitude, integrating what works for you about Stoicism and Zen practices into daily life. He shares the most effective and efficient habits, systems, behaviors, and skills of the most significant disruptors, world-class masters, and top performers he has the privilege to interview every 2 to 3 weeks. One journey, many paths.
Isra has been a marketer focused on positive impact. He has worked with self-marketing, a synonym for self-mastery, in people first and then in organizations. He has worked as a peak performance consultant and trainer for various companies. He has been a TEDx speaker and a speaker at public and corporate events. He is an author and writer publishing 9 books. He has acted as a teacher in universities and business schools. He is a blogger for more than 12 years and often transforms into a podcaster, interviewing some of the most recognized disruptors in the world.
He's an entrepreneur, a lifestyle experimentalist. He goes on ultra-endurance challenges or adventures, either learning from shamans in the upper Amazon, training with the Shaolin monks, living with Zen monks, or defying the logic of effort and the limit of human performance. Each day, he is in action. All of this and much more beyond words makes it impossible to be included or labeled under the same category or expertise, which leads me to be a white belt master in hacking human potential through the holistic high performance and ultra productivity method.
He founded the School of Modern Stoicism and the Psilocybin Science and Experience Spanish platform, among many other projects and movements. Now he is on his way to making his lifetime project a reality, a self-mastery and life school. He uses self-mastery and self-discipline as a core engine for everything. Action is not just a result, it is in the essence of what Isra does. This is why he is so committed to self-mastery and peak performance.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have him on the show today because nowadays he's been on an experimental sabbatical called The Great Victory, which he began in 2021 and continues to do. That to say is he closed his entire life digitally and offline, separating himself, his business, his personal material and emotional. And for now, he's been on the wildest, most worthwhile milestone in his 41 years. Any path is the path. Isra Garcia, welcome to the show. Isra, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Melanie. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor.
It's so good to have you. I've been looking forward to this interview for a very long time. I'm so glad we're finally able to make it happen. And I want to jump right in. I want to dive right in. And I want you to tell me, what is the great victory? What is this? What is the great victory?
The great victory, I think, is the best invent that I've came up with, and it truly saved my entire life. Like it gave me what I didn't know it could give me, but at the point of when I was about to do it, it was the only way. And I call it the great victory because it was 1 year. It started like in 2019. I saw it for first time in a very deep ceremony with myself, and to show that I had to leave everything, but I didn't understand what it mean. So okay, I just leave. Sometimes you had these random ideas coming up or insights, and I just left it aside. But 2020, which was a very intense year, was coming up, and at some point, I just got the clear insight of, because you have to live everything that you have, because your life has been designed and built in a way that you can do that because I don't have at that point, and I still don't have children, don't have wife, don't have even girlfriend. So it was building up, and at some point I understood that if I continue living the life the way I was living it, which it can be, some can name it as a pretty reasonably or pretty successful, or I was going to be unhappy, and it wasn't going to end good. I knew it was so clear that I said, because the path to a fulfilled life is no more, and my life was more action. Some people has the handicap of not taking action. My handicap, it was I take too much action. Well, I never say too much. I take so much action. I took so much action. But at some point, I knew that it was going to get me lost on the more, and said, what do I need to do then? I said, your path is not to more. Your path is to less. So I call it the great victory, the path to 0.0, because all my life has been on the extremes, on the 100, on the 1,000, on the 100,000, on the million, in everything. And
I can relate.
I didn't know how not to do. And that was coming up. And I remember one person that say, Isra, is incredible because I've seen thousands of people. I work with thousands of people. You are the only one that you hold yourself on the hand, knowing that you have to stop, but you don't. Another airplane to do a vipassana, another challenge, riding, cycling, and swimming to Burning Man, another experiment, another, and what started like as a great success. Yeah, it started as a great success because I was working in a factory 12 hours a day with 24 years. But it all started with when I was 8. When I was 8, my father told me like a few years ago that I arrived to my home, and I just hit the table and I said, I'm not gonna be fat again. That's where my survival system started.
Very nice.
That, but I didn't know until a few years ago. And because I got the reward of, if you do something, you get something in return. So let's say, if I don't eat more food, or if I don't eat more fries, I'm not fat. So girls in my school don't tell me I am fat. That was with 8 years. That was, for me, was pretty amazing. And this the survivalist system of if I do, I am, it worked, until places that I could never have imagined. But at some point, it stops working for everyone. And at that point, I was feeling low, darkness, like I was, like the more you do, it comes a point that you don't progress, you don't advance, you don't go forward, you even don't move. And I felt stuck. I didn't know. And thanks the universe that I found, I got my encounters with psilocybin, and I started experimenting like in a very respectful and sacred way, because, like I always very respectful for everything and with everything. And suddenly I started seeing clearly. And in February 2021, after a very hard experience in December of 2020, like very up to the limit experience, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I remember that I recorded a video in February 2021, and I say to everyone, like, hey, I'm gonna leave everything. I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna stay in the world. Let's put it that way. And from there, I decide, because everything I do 0 to 100, but this time I say, okay, I want to do this in a very virtuous and gracious way. So I'm gonna say goodbye to everyone that I know, everyone. And when I've reached that point, when everyone that I love, I've did a go away party, I stay with them, I will leave. What is living? Like I sold my house, my cars, closed my businesses. And I remember in December of 2020, leaving my hometown, Alcoy, close to Alicante. Like, Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman in the bucket list. I was driving.
Yeah.
We're out.
I was driving, and I say, I have every item in my checklist is checked, because the last one was my family, have a very honest conversation with my mother. Had me when she was 16.
Wow.
My father, like, I had I wrote a letter to each of them. Like I call it, is a technique or a habit that I do from time to time, is I call it the letter before you go. We always wait until somebody leaves to tell what it meant for us. No, it started very soon in my life when I realized that, and I started to write these letters. The first ones were my great parents, which I tell them everything long before they left. So I did this with my mother, with my brother, with my aunt. It's like my sister, because when my mom had me when she was 16, her sister was 13, so she's like my sister. With my uncle, because I had a brother who died when he was 21 and I was 24. So I felt like I could done anything, something, but I wrote this letter to, I'm sorry and forgiveness. And when I finished that, I was driving to Valencia, because I wasn't going to come again to Alcoy and say, okay, because the family stuff is always what hunts us, what chases us, what is always here. It creates everything from childhood to teenager to adults. And then I started this journey where I went with a bag and a hand luggage. I was starting for 1 year in 2022, and I'm still there. Now I'm landing, which is pretty. I have to say that now I knew I was going to be challenging the landing, because I took my time for taking off, and I knew that I have to take time for landing. So from September to April or May of next year, I'll be landing very quietly. I don't know where still. And in these 4 years, I've been living in a Zen monastery because I was even considered to order myself as a Zen monk. I lived in the Amazons. I lived in the Shaolin Temple. Like I basically what started like a, let's say maybe the only alternative for finding true fulfillment in yourself, because I have worked myself to the limits, but I knew that it was not working. It was stop working in yourself.
Yeah, Isra, I want to jump in because,
Please.
God, I could seriously just sit here and listen and say nothing this entire interview, I feel like, and I'm not joking, because I'm just like, yes. Yeah, like your story resonates for me so deeply as someone who is very much in action, always experimenting, wanting to squeeze like the most possible out of life, out of myself. It's kind of a really wonderful thing. And just like anything else, poison is dose, right? Too much of anything and it becomes harmful. And I feel like I hear that in your share. What I'm wondering about is you mentioned like, okay, I had this perceptibly really successful life. I want to ask about what was that? Like, what was that perceptible successful life? Because I imagine if I'm resonating, I imagine there's other people listening that are like, would see themselves in your kind of quote unquote classic success, and then exploring more like why and how, what was it like to give that up, to step away from that? Because I bet there's a lot of people that are like, how could I possibly leave this? I've sunk my entire life into building this or being this or whatever. So I kind of want to hear more of what was that classic success, and then if it takes us there, what was it like to really leave that for you?
That's a very thorough question. Like it's very insightful and makes me go very very deep to a very beautiful place. Which 18 years, when I was 18, I was working as a plumber in a city that I'm sure 99% of the listeners don't know, like. And after I went to work in a factory 12 hours a day, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. one week, and from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. another week. I was 24.
Ugh.
So for me, it's not a classical success story. For me, it was an epic story. But what amazed me is, at some point, I forgot that I've lived an epic life all my life. Because that's what, when you get on the wheel, you forget how extraordinary you are. You, me, everyone. So my classic success is from zero to hero. I went from zero to no hero. I went from this factory to speak in all around the world, like more than 400 public speakings, 9 books published. Like I had my agents, I had my digital transformation agency. I could work for companies like Disney, like 3M, like companies that I could never, like even Football Club Barcelona, which is, huge. And I got what I wanted. And don't get me wrong, I traveled the world for 2 years, working, living, traveling non-stop in 2018, 2019. I did everything I ever wanted. And and at some point, your dopamine wants more. I did experiments like 20 days just water, 200 days looking for rejection, 52 days of microdosing psilocybin.
Right.
I did more than. So my classic success, I built a company that gave me what I wanted, my freedom, which is, I had the chance to have 80 employees and a big company, but I said, no, I want a company that makes me free, not a slave of the system. So I built companies, like all of them related to digital marketing and digital transformation and marketing by them. And then I started to shift through what I call disruptive education, which is a blend of, transversal soft and hard skills in a context where, where the holistic matters, where the mind, where the physical body, where we call spirit, or like our principles and the emotions, and this got me transformed. And so I had like everything, and I said, why, if I have everything, I feel that if I continue having everything, I'm gonna be unhappy. And not only unhappy, because that's not the problem. Happiness come and go. This is,
Right.
eudaimonia is that it will take me to a place which I think it will be dangerous for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so I had everything, and I say, why, if I have everything, I'm not feeling as I feel now, which I don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have let's put it that way. I don't have a Porsche. I don't have a house in the beach. I don't have the squared brand fashion, whatever. I don't. I can go to have, I can enjoy the same, but now, why I feel now so complete, and what these 4 years gave you, it gave me find the middle way, like in Sensei, like because that's my key. The key is, when do you know when to take action and when don't? So distinguishing and finding when I go and when I'm not going, or when I'm gonna say something, or when I shut up, when I create this business or where I not, is, for me, is where wisdom lies. Because
There's a lot of
not.
these. So I'm going to jump in here because you've got so much offerings and it's so beautiful. And you're touching these parts of me. And Isra, I want to just reflect. First, I want to express a massive amount of gratitude, because the second that we sat down to start to connect the first time, we immediately dove into conversation in this depth, right? Like, we went right into our journeys, and I'm like, oh, this guy is my friend, right? Like, I immediately know this person because
Yes,
I feel like
yes.
I'm looking in a mirror, right? I'm looking in a mirror of the personal journey. And at this time, we're literally talking, I'm sitting on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere in Idaho, and just with nothing. I don't have a house. I've sold it. Everything I have is here in my van, and I have very, very little. It's a tiny living, and there's this huge, huge relief. There's this massive feeling of openness, a sense of peace, a sense of contentment, a sense of I don't need anything, that I have everything, a sense of wholeness. I have everything, right? When I look around me, I'm full.
So beautiful.
If I think about the idea of going away, of like to the next thing, like I got to do the next thing. I got to do the next thing. I feel like I would be leaving my fullness for an empty cup, right? Like, I have a full cup already. What am I going to do? I'm going to spill it because I'm trying to run away to go fill it when it's already full. So I'm thrilled for you. I'm so happy to hear that you've been on this journey to less is more. And as you highlighted for our audience, a few of your resume items, I mean, absolutely super achiever resume, biography, and I want to pivot us a little bit because you touched on it, but I know this is a huge part of who you are. And I want our audience to be able to hear about this part of you because you're a troublemaker. Yeah. You're a troublemaker for yourself and you inspire troublemaking in others, right? Like your mission operandi is, I'm going to stir the pot, right? So tell me about Disrupt Everything.
So what you said is, I always operated on the belief of doing more. But when you do more from a scarce mentality, at the end it will hurt you. But when you do more from a, let's say maybe it's a tag word like abundance, but from when you do more without you needing to do more, the impact is so big in a way that now when I just let go everything, including my family, my mom, 2-3 years without knowing anything, truly nothing, no phone, no social networks, nothing. I got so much. Now I have, let's put it that way, I have the same income that I had without me investing 12 hours a day. I don't invest. I just go and do the work that the people hire me for, which I was talking with a very big music artist friend of mine and say, your art, your pure art, like Seth Godin said, like everybody's an artist because everybody has a gift or many gifts. Your art doesn't have to be difficult, complex, or heavy. Your art, you don't have even to practice. If you have to practice your art, it's not your art. So what I'm doing right now is like, all of this has happened, and a part of this is how to disrupt yourself, and how to disrupt. When you disrupt yourself, it's easy to disrupt everything. So I always had a fight with myself. I always was in a search, in a quest. This is why I did everything. This is why so many experiments. This is why so many Ultraman, like 8 days biking alone with the things I got from Hollywood to Borneo. Always putting myself into extremes. Why? Because I knew it was something, but I never found it. I went through 5 a.m. ME of DMT. I went to Amazons. I went to ayahuasca. I went everything, and I only found it when my world broke to pieces through a very tragic experience that helped me to release blame, embarrassment, and unworthiness. And so in this path of disrupt everything, which is like my life, put it into experiments and into a podcast where I just dissect worldwide disruptors, from a curandero in Amazonas, which is a disruptor, to Wim Hof, to a Zen master. Like there are so many people disrupting themselves, but my search and my quest ended up when I went in 2023, I went to a mountain in Indonesia, like very random, nothing mystical. People like, when I explain that, people think it's just a small cottage house that was nobody there. I had the luck there, and when I came there, I say like, Buddha didn't move from a tree for days. I'm not able to not move, but I'm not gonna leave this cottage until I see what I've been looking all my life. And if it took me one day, 2 months, And it took me 5 months in darkness, in fasting, and like in silent, in stillness, and all this disruption, which is like trying to break patterns, has took me to a place where I was crying for days, knowing that I had solved my life, and I did it by myself. No mentor, no master, no book, no podcast, because this is the truth. Like we are in a world where everybody's looking for a master, everybody's looking for a coach, everybody's looking for a mentor. No, but it's you all the time. You is the one who is going to give you the final answer, if there is such a thing. And I was I was feeling like, and I people need to hear, like I was feeling proud of, oh my God, I reached this point by myself, because everybody's my master. The dog in the street barking at me is my master. Like my girlfriend saying whatever she says, you guys telling me what you were saying about the something that I made me realize, oh wow, because this is the what I call the white belt attitude. White belt mentality is, you're a white belt, you're here to learn. And this way to always looking for something that break a pattern on you, let's say maybe it's work, like maybe it's a skill, maybe I put it into a podcast that I built, where I dissected everything, people, myself, like my big experiences, my like an Ultraman if I do, and we have the chance. When people ask me, will you give any advice? I say, I'm nobody to give advice, but I will say always the same is, life is the laboratory. You are the experiment. Go and experiment. And this is what you are going to get through the experience and through the practice. Even Einstein won't understand. So only you, and I'm very, very tight into Zen Buddhism, very profound, very deep. And like very old Zen masters has told me, Isra, it's just an intimate experience. Nobody can tell you this is life. This is the final Satori. You go, and I understood through so much experience, joy, cry, wanting to end my life, wanting to live again. Like, you have to go through every condition of what a human being means. And when I was interviewing in Mexico, al abuelito Antonio, one of the 5 eldest Mayan elders that is still alive, he told me, Isra, we are just learning how to be human, and we will never know how to do it. That gives compassion and hope.
The sponsor of today's episode is Great Spirit Farm. Yes. Love having Great Spirit Farm with us, and specifically their ayahuasca microdose tincture. It is a natural MAOI antidepressant and anti-anxiety. Great Spirit Farm describes the feeling as a warm hug. It can help you access deep creativity, flow, intuition, and improve vivid dream recall, which actually has totally been my experience.
So what is exactly in the bottle is the ayahuasca vine itself. So this is a tincture extraction, double extraction tincture that contains the Banisteriopsis caapi vine. Now, the particular vine that this has been extracted from has been growing in Florida now for over 25 years. And the ayahuasca vine does not contain DMT, so that makes this tincture 100% legal in all 50 states.
Yeah, Great Spirit Farm recommends starting with 1 to 3 dropperfuls and increasing your dose gradually from there until you feel the effects. There are no known contradictions with antidepressants, and always check with your doctor and only take as directed.
And what's really great about what Great Spirit Farm is doing is they're making sure that 10% of all the sales are returned to the Shipibo tribe, honoring the medicine's indigenous roots with active reciprocity. Now, if you want to try this tincture out for yourself, you can go to the website. That is ayadose.com, AYADOSE.com, and you can enter our discount code TTJ10 to get 10% off your order. Again, that's ayadose.com and all caps TTJ10 to get 10% off your order.
Yeah, Isra, gosh, it's interesting, this conversation, because there's a part of me that's like, I couldn't possibly do anything without the support of my most cherished, my team, my people, my loved ones. And then there's another part of me that's like, in recognition of what you're sharing about, like, go here, you alone. I want to briefly share just a story, because again, this
please.
resonance with doing these really intense experiments. I don't know if you've ever heard of 75 Hard, but it's like this really intense 75-day challenge where you do 2 45-minute workouts a day, follow a strict diet, no cheating. You read 10 pages or listen to an hour of nonfiction. You don't drink alcohol. You take a progress picture and you drink a gallon of water. And I learned about it multiple years ago, right, from a couple of friends that did it. And I was like, because of that calling toward intensity, I was like, one of these days I'm going to do it. And this year was that year. I was doing it, did it. Now, stay with me for a second. This is going someplace that's relevant to what you shared. On day 74, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. I mean, it's been cool. I've learned some stuff. It's been hard. Yeah. But I was like, whatever. I was just like, shrug, don't know. And then on day 75, no joke, when I actually finished it, and the thing that's also important to note is that I started doing it with an accountability partner, but that accountability partner kind of fell off really early on. And so I was alone.
Wow.
I was really alone. And so on day 74 or on day 75, I'm done with my final workout. I'm listening to this song in my earbuds. It's a song, it's called I'll Be There. And it's like, I'll be there through the highs and lows, give you my heart when yours is broke. By your side when you're all alone, I will be there. And that moment, I mean, I could cry right now, just like absolute tears of just getting it, that I showed up for myself in such a profound and powerful way. And that was not a lesson that I had really gotten as deeply until that moment. And that just happened this year, so like, I feel like even talking to you today, I'm quite grateful. You can probably hear the like emotion in my voice. Like, this feels very, very resonant for me. Thank you for your sharing. Sorry.
Thank you for your sharing.
Yeah, I'm not sorry for my emotion. I'm grateful, like, because I do think there's so much that these high achievers, myself, Jason, you, all of those listening that really resonate with this, there's beauty and healing to be found when we really go there with ourselves. So thank you for the space to share that. I want to share because it does make a difference for me, your sharing. And so I don't even have a question. I more just sort of take that. Feel free to respond.
It touched my heart. What you said is so relieving. Like when you truly turn the light on what in words, and everything in words is already filled. What Jason said is already there. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. you don't have to be. And mostly, in order to be, you don't have to do. You already are. But we, from the very early ages, everything says you have to be. So everybody wants to be somebody. Nobody wants to be themselves. As Johnny Depp put in a beautiful interview, he was referring to Hollywood, but I can refer to everyone. He said, everybody wants to be themselves, but they can't. That's so on point. But not only they can't, they don't even want, which is even worse. And what you realize when you are when you have the intimacy with your inner master, with his you, is that I'm not gonna put words like self-knowledge, like self-mastery. No words can describe the feeling that you get, or the sensation or the fulfillment that you get when you really live at peace with who you are, what you are, where you are. And that was I got from your sharing, like finding I'm always gonna be there. I'll be
yes.
and
Yes.
this is always home. This
Yes.
is always safe. You cannot be misaligned.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people say, I'm not aligned. Listen, if you are not aligned, you'll be floating in the universe. So your feet are under the earth. You have gravity.
Yeah.
And this is the us. We don't know how to be us. We know how to be anything else but what we are.
Right.
And I honor your words, that very, for me, touching and reaffirming. Like, yeah, sometimes it's the only way, right? Like, the hardest thing in the world right now. The other day, one colleague of mine, like an amazing woman, amazing experience, amazing wisdom. She has done things that not so much people has done. She said to me, Isra, with all that you lived, if you were to name one tool, one thing that we truly need, I say, no, it's crystal clear. Stillness, nothing else. Because stillness is even deeper than meditation itself. Because people sit to meditate trying to leave their mind in blank. No, it's not that. It's just, but the stillness, with the stillness, you cannot escape from yourself. You cannot hide. You cannot play the hide and seek. You cannot, because this is what we're doing all the time.
So yeah.
And I say, like, for me, one of the next steps is a school of stillness, because only 15 minutes each day of just being quiet and still in a world that always is pushing you to be more, to do more, is the tool, and it's free, accessible, portable.
Right.
You don't need a teacher. So I was saying, what I'm gonna teach? If they I say, okay, no, nothing. So, and it's
What are you
it's
gonna teach?
always
Nothing.
Nothing.
You killed it. That's perfect. I'm going to teach you nothing.
What are you
Yeah,
gonna teach?
That's the real
Nothing.
that's the
Nothing.
mastery statement in itself, right? Like, that is the true. When I hear the story in my head about the ancient master that wants to teach the student wants to learn everything. What is the master really going to teach? Nothing. The student is going to teach themselves.
There's a beautiful,
right?
there's a beautiful story that say is a Zen scholar that came to see a Ryokan or Bankei, like a big Zen master back in the time, back in the days, and he says, they maintain a conversation like very Zen style, and he says, I came to learn from you. And I say, I'm like Zen, I can teach you nothing. And the Zen scholar says, only the spirit which is empty and can teach nothing is the one who has the true Zen, Like I was inspired in what Jason was saying.
There's a song that I've been listening to pretty much every day for quite a while now, and it's really helping me to find the joyful gratitude in nothing, and to really just realize this story that you've been telling of your own journey, where I don't need to be going for more. I don't need to be looking for there. The song is called There Is No There. Because there is no there, there is no there, there is no there, there is no there. And it just goes on, and it's like, if somebody tells you to take psychedelics to get you there, there is no there, there is no there.
I love it.
Like,
That's funny.
so good. It's so good. And it's anchoring me, right? It's anchoring me in this journey of like, I struggle on a daily basis with this feeling like I need to go somewhere. I mean, I literally had this feeling a few minutes ago in this conversation. I have this kind of like an anxiousness, like a nervousness that tells me I need to do the next thing. I need to, when I'm done with this call, when this podcast is over, I need to do something else, right? And that is, it's a vibration in my soul, in my body, that I'm working on a daily basis to let go of this feeling like I need to go somewhere, do something, be more, be the next thing, the there, I love that we're talking about this. It's so present for me in my day to day right now, moment to moment, literally moment to moment. And in this big journey, and I know that so many of our audience is definitely like, oh man, I'm just running around, just running all the time, doing the next thing. And I want to touch this idea of, this super achiever kind of thing, right? Like huge resumes. Some of us, what that looks like is never missing a day for our family, right? For some of us, that means showing up every morning to have breakfast ready for the kids, right? For some of us, that means running marathons or traveling the world. And for others, it means there's always oatmeal on the table in the morning, and that constant drive to always be showing up, to always be able to be of service, right? To be fulfilling our obligation, our role, our responsibility to ourselves, to our families, to our jobs, to our communities, to our gods, And that pause when we actually go, wait a second, what am I doing? How am I being of service to myself in equal share to those that I wish to continue to be service of?
I was following your train of thought and your thinking. I feel like it, to me, connects to this notion of landing softly that you were mentioning early, Isra, because you were by yourself for a long time, but now you're re-engaging the world. You're showing up in this space. You're reconnecting with relationships. What is that like? What are you learning from that process so far?
So at some point in this journey, which been 4 years, like 10 years, a beautiful stay in one of the most traditional Zen monasteries. It took me 5 years to get the permission to live with them, to see if, no, it's not like a retreat, to to be living in Asia most of the time because I wanted to get deeper on the Eastern way of do things. Where the action is the outcome, which is
Right.
for me the key.
Hmm.
So I realized, because I went through a 1 month total darkness retreat,
Wow. A
where I was
month
the
of
1 month.
most
darkness?
probably in the mountain. In these 5 months, I did a protocol. Was 1 month in
Wow.
fasting, 1 month in stillness, because I was pretty serious. I say I'm here to find. I'm here in this mountain because when I started the Great Victory, I was seeing this mountain metaphorically, but I wasn't ready for it. I had to detach from it, from a lot of things, even from myself, which is the big attachment. The big attachment is I. And so at some point in January 2023, I said, I'm ready. So I went to Indonesia, but I didn't know I was ready. And somehow I found it, or it found me. And I arrived there and I said what I said, like, I'm going to be here. So I'm going to design a protocol, which is what I do on my work for other people. But I say, you know what I'm going to do? An amusement park for myself on self mastery. Because it's time for me. It's time for go down to the rabbit hole as much as I can and see what happens. And I say, okay, let's do this. First, I started with landing with very, nothing, no connection. Then I started with fasting. Then I started with after fasting, I started with the darkness, and the darkness was I think it was the pivotal or the cornerstone piece of everything, because at some point in 20 days, they said, I wanted to try that it was true what they say, that after day 10, the pineal gland opens and you start releasing DMT. Because I've done 3 days, I've done 4 days. I wanted to see if this was true, because everybody says a lot of things, but not everybody is willing to try and from themselves. That's been my life. If you do that, you get that. How do you know? Have you done it? So my way of living is, for me to talk about something, I have done it. I have to be done it 10 times. For me to explain it 100 times. For me to teach it 1,000 times. So in this sense, I went there, and from day 8, and then I lost I lost the sense of time. And at some point, very, very, because the experience is, if I say, sometimes it's not understandable. But at some point, my only safe place was laying in the ground with some fruits on one side and some water in another side, and say, and I stayed there for, at some point, somebody knocked on my door and say, oh, your rent, you have passed 4 weeks. And I tried to find money. I gave money. I said, I'm meditating, as I say, I'm meditating, because, I said, I'm meditating, take all the money that you want, leave me here some months. I will go out, no problem. But at some point, I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Wow.
At some point, I was losing my mind. I was feeling my body. I didn't know if I was there. And at some point, I don't remember of many days, because it was not me. This is why I only can experience what I lived. And what I knew is, at some point, I had so scared of me losing my mind, me being able to do something beyond my comprehension. And that was the key point, because that was fear in its best shape. And I said, I came here for that. If I don't survive, if I'm not making it, I did what what I came here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I took a breath, and I just say, let it be. Whatever is going to happen to me. So my willing to struggle for being alive died. And at some point, that was like, man, with all respect, I never had a faith, because it happens or not happens, and I'm Christian, but I never had. Man, I saw God. And so I saw things but in a way, like, when I finished this experience, I believed in everybody, in the universe. So I know what is to have faith for first time in my life in a way that I cannot even describe. And all these experiences, going through where we were going, taught me that, Isra, my everyday, my daily life is a self-mastery bootcamp. I meditate 4 hours a day. I do qigong. I do tai chi. I do writing. So when I work with clients, they say, "Hey, how is your life?" It's same as we're doing now. This is why I don't need to do anything else. So, but I realized that was not, again, was taking me to the do. Because that was very, the mind is, or whatever it is very clever. I say, okay, so now I'm just going to live normal life. Like, I'm not, because I understand that, and a monk, Maurizio, told me once, Isra, in the path of self-knowledge, if you go too much to find yourself, you will never come back. And this is struck in my mind. I say, this is the time to stop. So I've been almost 1 year, like, super slow, easy, nothing related to working myself. Like,
right.
Because I don't think the work is done. But I think at some point you have to know when to do the work and when not, the middle way. And in this point, believe it or not, like, I even found somebody in my life, and we are going, like, very serious. And so it's amazing. I find a wonderful woman, amazing human being. And in this landing, I don't know, like, still how to contact with people. Just the other day, I called my parents because yesterday was the birthday of my mother. But I'm taking very slow, because when I realized, Melanie, that when you don't realize you are already on the washing machine, because my team, hey, Isra, we have this. Just you contact somebody one time by iMessage, because I don't use WhatsApp since 2015. You text 2 people, and they start texting you all the day. I don't understand this. I don't understand. And I don't understand, like now I don't understand many words that we will say, like, because we are talking in concepts. And this is the big lie. The ultimate lie is life itself. But the dangerous lie, the dangerous deceive, is words. And people nowadays talking in concepts.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is decision fatigue? I'm sorry for the what the fuck.
That's fine.
What does it mean to be anxious? Everybody's using, I'm anxious. No, you are not. You saying to your mind is anxious make you anxious. So people, we are living in the mind. And if you want to stop the mind, you have to live in the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Myself, I'm trying to do that. That's my best landing, I guess.
Amazing.
I heard you bring something up there, Isra, which is a very classic archetype. It's a story that plays out in everybody's mind. And I think it's worth kind of stepping backwards to to put some context around it, because I know so many of us, I've heard it 1,000 times. I've been on this journey myself. I hear you describing the journey, and it seems like it's ubiquitous. It's something that exists for all of us, and it's our ego mind wanting to play a game with us. And you talked about this fear of losing your mind, right? This fear of the identity, my idea of my control, right? They're like, what is losing the mind? Is like my control of my identity, right? Like I get to choose everything. I decide everything. It's all my conscious decision making, and I'm the one in control, right? And when the idea of losing control is terrifying to everybody. And this is the classic psychedelic journey. This is the meditator's journey. This is the human experience of the ego trying to control everything, right? And this needing to just let it all go. Just let it all go. Just let it do. It's animating on its own. I'm not pumping my heart. I'm not choosing to breathe. My breath is going on its own unless I decide. I can be involved, or I can forget about it, and it just keeps going. So bring me back to a little bit more, a little deeper about the fear of losing yourself and the joy, the happiness, the freedom, the actual of losing yourself.
That's so beautiful. There were so many things coming up to myself, like in the surface when you were sharing these words, Jason. Um, it's a brief exercise. I I suggest to everyone listening or watching this podcast is like just hold your breath, and while you are holding your breath, I'm gonna explain you the whole story of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have to keep you have to keep the breath hold. Yeah. What this is teaching us, even our breath is beyond our control. So
Nice.
what I've realized, like Jason, Melanie, I lost my mind. I lost it there. I lost it completely. I lost it in a way that has rewired my being, because I was days and days in a place that I don't even can recall. I don't even can share. I cannot put a name. I was lost. So like I like William Blake. If men will persist in their madness, they will become wise. This that's quote. I love it, and I just I had that was I felt that was the last thing I was holding to. This I'm gonna the control of my own actions, my own way of thinking, what is right, what is wrong. Mm, Maybe I do something beyond understanding. Maybe I commit something very bad. All these things wash away, and when I wake up, at some point, my mind was crystal clear, and what happened is that it was shown to me, and this is the moment where I think I solved my entire life, which is nothing to solve, because that's the key. The summary is nothing to solve, done. But it was shown to me that since my mom got pregnant with me, that she didn't, 16 years, you want to live life, man. From there to my life, all the loss, all the suffering, all the defeats, all the victories, all the paths, all the it could be this, all the if whatever, everything. It was shown to me like a perfect Picasso. Like Isra is a masterpiece. It's done. It was a word that says, "Don't you see it?" I say, "Yes, yes, yes. I'm seeing it now." Yeah. I had to come here to see it, and that was like, the cosmos can the cosmos cannot find realization because it's the cosmos itself. This is same for human beings. You cannot. So people is trying to find realization, but you are already the realization. So people is like this kind of concept of awakening, like everybody's using today. Awaken to what? This is a way like that is the control, because why so many concepts? Why so many tags? Why so many categories? What are you doing for work? You have to find a category, because if you don't find a category, people cannot see you, and if I cannot see you, they confuse, but they make you believe that that's wrong with you. No. So all these categories, concepts, terminologies is a fear. It's a way of clinging into something, and this is what keeping us like, okay, yes, we know. No, we don't know a shit. And this piece is when you realize that, man, look, later I will send you, but the other day I found this blow my mind in a way maybe you don't see it. It's half Buddha, half demon.
Oh,
This is it. That picture is the biggest representation of human being. Terence McKenna said, human existence is pure contradiction. And Taishin Deshimaru Roshi, the biggest Zen master of our, one of the biggest Zen masters of our time, says, when you, that's contradiction, choose two extremes, when you embrace it, you become one. But the thing is, we are debating all the time, but we are perfect, harmonious, beautiful, great contradiction. Myself, the peace I found is nothing else but for once in my life being okay with all the things I've never wanted to be or to do or to say, but I've done it, say it, being. And now, you know what? Now I'm a walking contradiction more than ever. And, like, with all my respect, I don't care about if it's good or bad. I know I'm here to do because I'm full of goodness, but in this goodness, I have also malevolence.
oh,
And
yeah.
Jordan Peterson addressed that in a beautiful and a very deep way.
I have
Until you don't
some.
become your enemy, you cannot be your friend.
Oh God, if you don't become your enemy, you can't be your friend. Oh my gosh. We don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to quickly ask, because I feel like this is in sort of line with the reentry into the world. But like you mentioned earlier about when we are giving or doing from a place of scarcity, versus when we are doing, giving from a more grounded place, that the impact can be so much larger. I'm curious about that relative to your work, in the sense that, like, okay, you've had these very powerful, deep personal realizations. You've had true transformation occur with this experience, all these experiences that you've had. I'm curious, how do you start, quote unquote, teaching others, right? I'm imagining you don't just start with, yo, let it all go, right? Right? Like, I'm curious, like, where is an entry point that you meet people with that they can meet you? You know what? I sort of like not meeting people exactly where they're at, but meeting them slightly in a different place, so that they can actually, not be so you know what I mean? Like afraid of that gap, or it's too disparate for them to even connect to. I want to hear a little bit about that, because that's something that I care personally quite deeply about, is like this notion of being a contribution, but doing it from a place and the impact and all that stuff. So what would you say to that?
First one, what I devoted my life to marketing because I saw it always like a positive, the opportunity to create positive change through products or services. Okay. Then I moved to peak performance and human potential because that was my life took me outside of everything. I invested so obsessively on myself
Yeah.
that I destroyed everything, relationships. That was when I went hard. My darkness journey started from 2019 to 2021 until the Amazons. So in this change, what I do now, which is I work basically on one-on-ones, and I'm starting to do darkness retreats with self-mastery, and now I'm doing like self-mastery bootcamps. I do immersive experiences. I don't do online thing anymore.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I have a method which is called ultra productivity, but everything stopped in these 4 years. What I'm doing is you meet people where they are. So in these one-on-ones, and sometimes I do for businesses. That's the key. So I didn't have enough money to live more than 1 year, and these one-on-ones started popping up without me doing any marketing. More than when I was doing all the marketing in the world.
Yep.
But this is what I do. I travel the world doing one-on-ones for one person, for teams, for football players, for like kind of people. And in these one-on-ones are carefully prototyped to where they are. And this is important. We come with our film, let's put it that way. We come with our film to teach other people. You are nobody to teach your film. You have to go and live the film of the other person. So where all these experiences meet, me not teaching a thing. I go with you through the experience. Let's say we go to the Alps 7 days in a house. And what happens? Some people say, Isra, I thought you were going to talk. I say, me talking? No, it's you going through your own experience. And you know what happens at the end? Two notebooks of A4 filled by the person itself.
Yes.
This is your manual, my friend.
Yes.
Your life mastery manual. So the best experience is the practice itself. The master is the practice itself. The wisdom is in the practice, not in the talks, not in the conversation. So it's great because one of the things that really was successful in my life was conference and public engagement, public speaking. Now I don't have anything to say. I only have everything to practice with you.
I love that. I don't have anything to say. It's so awesome. I love that. Truly.
Yeah.
I hope next time we met, instead of doing a podcast, we practice.
Yes.
The podcast.
Yeah, I am in.
Let's do it.
I am so in for that.
We should do it.
Yeah. Isra, I want to say something to you, and I want to say this with 100% authenticity. Like, this is legit. I fucking love you. You're fucking beautiful. Thank you.
I love you too, man.
Yeah.
I love you too, and I love you too, Melanie.
Ditto. Literally.
So much humanity in this podcast. I miss this. Even in my podcast, Even in my podcast, you gave me today an amazing lesson of being human. And I'm saying, okay, when I finish this, I need to integrate how to be like amazing, a fucking amazing human. Like, is heart touching. Is like very warm. Like, it's just having a conversation with like friends from like forever.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time.
Great humans you are.
Yeah.
Me too, and I hope I can have you soon when I come and I start doing podcasts to have you also in Disrupt Everything, because you guys, the way you live life and the way you also embody life and embody your own experience and also your humanity is pretty mind blowing. I would say that, because I feel like very touched by you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank
you, my friend.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to say before we close this space or share?
Experiment by yourself. Try things. Don't let the theory or the experts or the podcasts or the tutorials tell you how to do it. Like one of the most beautiful things in life is become your how to. Then you will know how to. Because if you don't know how to, you will always have to get back to people to tell you how to. And then, if you do that, there will be a lot of industries built on fear that will fall. It's just,
experiment with yourself. I need more of that myself. So I'm taking
the
that.
best master. Like the only master is you. Like embrace it and dare to be.
Thank you so much for
Amen.
for your share, for the conversation, for the reconnection, for the time. And authentically, I'm really excited right now because I know there's going to be some in-person connection coming up sometime in the future where we're going to make space and time to get together in person and to really share and dive deep and
100%.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Thank you for coming
100%.
on and make it. Yeah.
So
thank you. I say
much love.
In Zen, that's my way to say everything to you and the listeners. This is called Gasho, which is you and I are one. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, seriously, for listening, for spending your valuable time, energy, and heart with us. Every bit of it makes a difference.
Yeah, thank you. We would love it if you could show your support for the show by subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, or follow us on Instagram. You can always click the like button, leave us a comment, or share an episode with somebody directly.
Like we mentioned, every month we host integration coaching circles. So much good work is happening there. You are invited to join us. Go to trustthejourney.today/integration. The Trust the Journey family includes these integration coaching circles and our private Facebook group where we connect and support each other. Join us by going to our website, trustthejourney.today, and click the orange Patreon button.
Yeah, thanks. It's your support and engagement that make the show possible. Thank you. We're here to connect with you. Feel free to DM us anytime on Instagram. We're at trustthejourney.today. Thank you. We love you.
We love you.
Keep laughing, keep loving, and keep trusting the journey.